Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing my top 10 players at Valorant Champions. This list was the hardest list I've had to make yet. We say this literally every event, like every person that makes these lists always say it, but like this one, I left so many names off that I did not want to leave off. That, I don't know, it just felt wrong sometimes. Like there are some big names left off this list, but to kind of understand why some names might be left off, I think we got to look at my criteria for this kind of list. My lists are generally how good I think a player will be at this event specifically. So that will take into account pretty heavily how deep the player will go in the tournament, and not necessarily, oh, they played really well the last month of the season or something like that. Do you think they're going to keep at, like, it's whether I think they're going to keep that up or not. And I'm also not going to be taking any IGLing or calling into account. So just to spoil it here, I won't have Valen on this list, even though he is a very, very good smokes player individually, just outside of the calling stuff. Um, I won't be taking that into account, so he won't crack this top 10 list, even though he is, again, very good and probably one of, if not the best IGL at this event. So we'll start here with Chronicle at number 10. I mean, he has been absolutely unleashed on what to me is a completely new role. Maybe not completely new, but a new role for him on this Fnatic team. With Hero coming in instead of Leo, Hero's been playing a lot of the Sentinel flex, maybe some like of the Fade stuff, like kind of filling in the gaps, or Chronicle would be playing maybe a like a Cypher on Split or something like that, which he wasn't that great at, or stuff like that. But like this new edition of Hero has allowed Chronicle to kind of unleash the roles that he's the most comfortable at. It's put him specifically back on the Sova, which I think is his best agent, that Leo's been playing a lot of. I don't understand why they ever like swapped those two, where like Leo was on the Sova and Chronicle was on the Breach. On like Haven specifically, I don't know why they went off of the other way around, but regardless, they're both still very good at both of those, so it's not like I'm gonna fault them too much for that. But yeah, he's just been a really, really good flex initiator player, or whatever you really want to call him, for this team, and he's been back after his kind of slump from around like champs last year to like the beginning of this year, where he was genuinely like bad at the beginning of the year, I thought. But now he's fully back to one of those top players in the world. Super, super good support player. Mechanics are all the way back. And yeah, accidentally opened that, but I thought that was good, so I'm not going to re-record it. And then at number 9 here, another player that I think pretty easily should be on this list for most people, maybe like their top 15-ish. He's kind of like on the bottom end of the list, but still definitely up there, is Leaf, who is the newly appointed like America's Sentinel Player of the Year or whatever it was. Like they just did their like season awards and he won Sentinel Player of the Year. I don't know exactly how to phrase it, but he just won that, so congrats to him for that. But I think very much well deserved. I mean, I was saying it from the beginning of the year. The biggest concern with G2 for me was Leaf playing Duelist in big games. And now that he's playing the Sentinel role, I have no concerns about this team in terms of like the fragging level or just like the comfort on their roles or anything like that. Like I just think Leaf is a flex or a Sentinel player. He should not be on Duelist really that much. I mean, he can play it as like a secondary Duelist stuff, but man, you got to put him on this role where I think ever since, I mean, even since he's been put on it, I think he's been one of, if not the best Sentinel player in America, or in America's. Maybe you could argue less over him. Yeah, just best Sentinel player in America is, I think, the best Sentinel at this tournament as well. And yeah, that's very high praise for somebody on a team that isn't as well known for their individual play, I don't think. Then we have our first Duelist player on this list. We have Zekin. who, even though I don't have Sentinels going super deep at this tournament, I think is just too good of a player to leave off one of these lists. And I kept coming back to that with a lot of these players, where it's just like they're too good to leave off, so you have to put them on this list. I mean, Zekin is, I think, the best entry player in the world in terms of just like creating space for his team. I mean, based on this first kill to first death ratio of 0.24 to 0.18, I would assume he takes the most first duels, like percentage wise, for his team in the entire world. And yeah, he's just unbelievable. Mechanics are there. I think the opping is still coming along a little bit when he's playing the Jet, but it's not like he's bad at it by any means. I hope this team plays him on some more Neon, because I thought he was incredible when he played that back in the day, in like 2022-ish. And yeah, his raise is arguably the best in the world. You could say top 2 or top 3. I wouldn't argue with that at all. I don't think I'd put him best, but I think he's definitely up there for one of the best raises in the world. And should just continue to play very well, be Sentinel's best player. And yeah, he is elite for this team. Then we have Woot. I mean, I've seen people be surprised that some of like the flat chat people had him on the list. Like, I don't get why people just completely forget how good he was at Shanghai. Like, the team has talked about how they've been suffering from some burnout in the past month or two, like since getting back, and I think that's real. I think it will go away when they get to the event, and I don't think they'll have any issues. I think Woot is probably top 2 flex players in the world. When he plays the Jet, he is absolutely elite. I think he should be doing that more on Icebox, like they tried it early in the season. I thought he still looked very good on it. I think Mini Boo could maybe learn like a KO or something, or not a KO, like a Gecko or something to kind of fill in there and kind of help him out. But regardless, I think on the Jet maps, he should be the one playing Jet. Mini Boo should be the one playing Flex, and they should just roll through that, just because his mechanics might be the best at this tournament, and that's saying something. They're definitely up there, like top 3 or top 5. I don't think that's arguable whatsoever. And having that on a flex roll is just unheard of. So, I don't know, man. If you don't think he belongs on this list, I don't think you watch Shanghai, or you just have the shortest memory of any human being on the planet. So, I don't know. He should be on here. I feel like, if anything, this is a little low for him. And now, at number 6. For anybody who has watched my channel over the past couple of years, I don't think this should be a surprise for anybody. Safe at number 6. Another player who is just too good to leave off this list. And also, I think Vitality has upside to go deep. But he's the best duelist player in EMEA. I don't think it's particularly close, at least right now. Whenever he's been put on this duelist role, he has been the best duelist in EMEA at that given moment. Like, I think he was last year throughout the regular season. I think he is right now, as I said. And yeah, like, he's good at these other roles. He's good at Sentinel. He's good at Flex. But he's not elite, one of the best duelists in the world on, like, at those roles. He's not the best in the world at those roles. Or he's not the best in the world at duelist either, but he's not, like, a world-class player, I think is the way that I want to phrase that. Yeah, Safe is just insane. I don't think anybody should disagree with that. I mean, I'm just going off of, like, the community sentiment to be, like, what it was to Plat Chat's list. I didn't see anybody complaining about Safe, where he was. He was, like, 6 or 7. I think the community list had him 1 spot higher than they did. So I think that just goes to show how good he is. Elite rifler. I think he is, honestly, in terms of duelist players, he might be the best rifler at the tournament. It's between him and Zekin, I think. And then I think Texture Ospas kind of set themselves over everybody else with the opping. And yeah, he's just, I don't know, he can play all three duelists, he can play ISO, he can play Flex, he can play Sentinel. Hell, I think he could probably play Smokes or Initiator as well if he really wanted to. Um, Most flexible player in the world, top 6 player in the world for me here, or at least top 6 player at this event. And yeah, he's incredible. And now we have Forsaken at number 5. And I don't remember if I said that Safe was the most flexible player in the world, but I didn't mean it. Forsaken absolutely is the most flexible player in the world. He can play every initiator in the game. He hasn't played Gecko in an official yet, I believe. But I mean, come on, man. I feel like that agent is just like built for him. He can play Yoru, he can play Jet, he can play Raze, he can play Neon. He's played all of them before at a high level. He's played Phoenix and Reyna as well. I don't remember watching him play either of those agents. He can play Lurk agents, he can play Cypher, Killjoy, Astra. He can play some controllers. I bet he could probably play Omen. I don't think he's played him in an official, though. Yeah, he's never played Omen, but he could play Omen probably. He's also played Chamber. He's also played Harbor. Uh, I mean, he's just played everything. He's also played a little bit of Sage and ISO here and there. But yeah, just top 5 player in the world, I think, pretty easily, and is the biggest piece on Paper Rex, in my opinion, and will be and has been for a very, very, very long time. And at number 4, I have Jonah P, who I still think is the most underrated player in the world. I wasn't super high on him coming into the year. I wasn't super high on him just in general. But I mean, seeing some of the takes that people have are unbelievable about him. You have like, I think it was Baby Bay predicted that he would be the champs MVP or something like that. Like they posted a screenshot with like a bunch of casters stuff. Um, and somebody is like, "You're fucking insane, Baby Bay," or something like that. And I'm like, huh? He has been G2's best player all year. Like from kickoff to now, he has been the best player by far. And I think he even stepped up from like the beginning of Shanghai, maybe like playoffs, you could say as well, through and into like now, where I still think he's the best support player in the world. He is I mean, he's not like ungodly flexible. I think he still is like fairly flexible. Like he can play the Viper, the Sky, the KO at an elite level. His breach is really good as well. He's played Soba, that's been pretty good. Sage is also good. His Chamber's good. Like he's played a lot of different stuff. Uh, he's not like elite at some of it, but I still think he is a very, very good player at almost every agent he plays. And yeah, he does the support stuff that I think Ethan was really good at last year. And he has even higher levels of fragging and mechanics than I think even Ethan did last year, who I was unbelievably high on throughout the year. And yeah, I'm really high on this G2 team, I guess. I don't know how, but I think everybody underrated them throughout the whole process of Shanghai, including myself. And I'm done downing this team. I think they're a top 3 team at the tournament, and Jonah's a top 4 player at the tournament. And now we're finally onto the Gen G players, and even though in my pick'ems I predicted them to go out in 2, I still have Charon, and then I'll spoil it. I also have Texture on this list, no surprise. Even if you have them going out in 2, I think that's insane to take him off the list. But yeah, Charon always shows up at these events. I think it was kind of a hot take to have them going out that fast, so like I still have them rated pretty high in my power rankings, so it's not like I think they're a bad team at all. I just think Charon is the best smokes player in the world. I think it kind of felt bad leaving Mako off this list as the other like elite Korean smokes player. But I don't think it felt bad to put Charon this high either. Yeah, he didn't play as elite throughout the regular season, but every time he gets to these tournaments at Madrid, at Shanghai, he turns up to another level. So I'd predict him to do it again. not a super hot take there. So yeah, I don't think there's too much to say. I think everybody knows how good Charon is. Uh, I think his mechanics are the best out of any smokes player in the world, maybe other than tens, but I don't even know if I count tens as a true smokes player since he plays other stuff as well. So I don't know. I'm gonna give it to Charon just because he's this high on the list, and I think he's insane. Then we have Texture, who is a player who I've been following for a very long time. Even like since the beginning of when I started following this game. I think I would see like highlights of his matches from in Korea. I think he was on Damwon Kia, and he'd always popped to me as like a very, very good talent. And I thought if he had the opportunity to go to a global event on a decent team, that he could show at least that he was a very good player. And he never got that shot until Gen G, where he's surrounded by elite talent across the board, Lakia, Charon, Meteor, and Munchkin. And he, I think, has been the best player of this year so far. Obviously, he didn't play as elite throughout like stage 2 of Pacific, but I think the rest of it, he's been unbelievable. And I think Gen G is on the precipice of having the greatest year of any team of all time. I don't know if I'd put them like ahead of Fnatic in terms of all time, in terms of like the history of Fnatic being last year and this year, because Fnatic was still a good team this year. They weren't like amazing, but like if Gen G, I don't know, makes playoffs of 2 global events next year, I think they should be the greatest team of all time, barring Fnatic being like insane. Like returning back to 2023 Fnatic is kind of my thought process there. But yeah, making 2 international grand finals, winning one of them, making the grand finals of every regional tournament. In stage 1 in kickoff they made it and lost, and then they finally won in stage 2. And yeah, Texture's been an elite player for them, and I think the biggest reason why they've gotten here. And at number 1, I don't think there should be any surprises here. The GOAT, Asos. Last time for Shanghai, I rated Asos as the number 2 player behind Texture, which I think aged pretty well. Maybe not him being number 2, but Texture being number 1. And yeah, I mean, what is there to say about Asos? The best opper in the world, the best duelist player in the world, the best player in the world. Just everything about him is the best player in the world. I mean, he's the best Jet, and he's up there for raises. He's up there for neons. He's had the best stats throughout the whole year, which at times is like not the best thing because he sometimes plays a little bit for stats, which you don't love to see. But other than that, he's perfect. I mean, I don't really have a ton to say just because he's that good. Like, yeah, he's just good. He makes good decisions most of the time. He is possibly the best, like up there for the best mechanical players in the world. I don't even think he's like the best, but he just wins almost every fight that he takes, as you can see by the stats. And yeah, I really don't have a lot to say about him. Which you'd think, like the best player in the world, you'd have a ton to say about him. But honestly, I think the thing that sets him apart from every other duelist player right now is just how he uses every agent's utility. Like the raise, I think everything's thought out, or maybe not. Like he doesn't like spend time in the moment thinking about it, but I think that's what makes him so good. Is that like every piece of utility has a purpose. A lot of Jet players, at least used to, kind of operate where like they just, oh, I'd take an op shot and then spam all my abilities everywhere and just hope I can get out. He has never done that, and he's, I mean, been the best Jet in the world for a very long time. And yeah, I don't really have a ton more to say about him because he's just the best player in the world. Hands down, nobody will tell you otherwise. Maybe some people are stupid and will tell you some other stuff, or biased and will tell you some other stuff, but I just think right now he is the best player and is ranked as such here. So again, let me know what you guys think of this list in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one for either my playoff pick'ems for champs or for my next rebuild, which should be Bleed. So go check those videos out. Go check out my other rebuilds. Go check out my power rankings, pick'ems, everything like that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.